Good evening and welcome to Law Talk, the show that brings the Constitution, the events of today into your life, defined and explained by two prominent attorneys, and that would be Mark Malachowski and myself, James Barrett. Mark, what are we covering tonight?
Well, we had an incident where we had a company that apparently wasn't too big to fail.
Which company was that, Mark?
It was Hostess.
Hostess. Well, we're talking ding-dongs, Ho Hos, and Wonder Bread.
Twinkies.
Can't forget the Twinkies.
No more Twinkie defense.
No more Twinkie defense.
And so, yeah, I mean, we're talking about an American icon that's been in business for decades.
100 years, I understand.
And 36 plants, 18,500 workers,
right,
all now going to be laid off.
And why is that?
Well, there's a bankruptcy judge, Robert Drain. He was trying to facilitate a mediation between the union and Hostess. I think it was November 9th, the union went on strike, and Hostess said, you know, we can't give up anymore. And Hostess was crippled, and it couldn't meet its obligations. Well, it's been in bankruptcy for a while, so it's had some financial problems for a while.
I have been following this, and what's really going on here is this. There's two opposing sides. They try to do secret mediation between some of the top people on both sides, both the company and the union side. And the judge had actually wanted that because they didn't want any mediation in the press. They actually wanted them to really try to work out a deal. But what had happened was the union had drawn it's the Bakers Union, drew a very, very heavy line in the sand saying we can't give up anything no matter what. And Hostess said, well, wait a minute. If we can't get a little bit of concession, we're going to close Hostess. And you can imagine across the nation, the newspapers, the airwaves were abuzz with, oh, my God, we're going to lose our Twinkies, we're going to lose our Ho Hos, our Ding Dongs.
Wonder Bread.
And Wonder Bread. And you know what? Who called whose bluff? The union said, we're not going to give you an inch. And you know what's funny? They're the highest paid group of Bakers Union in the industry. And so what? They would rather make 18,500 people go out of their employment, walk the picket lines, than give up a small bit of a Twinkie to Hostess.
Well, as usual, Jim, you've got a little mixed up.
Okay, well, why don't you tell me what really happened then?
Okay, it's only 18,500 workers, and so that's only 11.
Only? In this economy?
Yeah, it's only 11% of the workers that were gained in October. So this is all happening in November. So that's only 11% of a monthly gain for the whole nation, right? So it's only 18,000. Okay.
Well, what about if you're one of those 18,000?
And the thing is, like, in 2012, the Hostess gave the union only $31 million in concessions and wages and in health care kind of things. Only $31 million.
Only 31?
Only $31 million.
Oh.
Change. So they're not getting anything from Hostess. Hostess is just being corporate, jet, rotten capitalist. Basically like the teachers union had this, whatever, the cartoon that, you know, kind of taxpayer paid content about how you handle it.
Let's hold off on that cartoon. I know which cartoon you're
talking
about.
But basically, you've got these rotten capitalists.
Tinkle down.
It's an 85-year-old company, and all they've done is exploit these workers. Now the Teamsters had it right. The Teamsters said that you couldn't have Twinkies and Wonder Bread on the same trunk.
And why would that?
Because it was a concession by Hostess. Otherwise, they go on strike. And also, if you're a Teamster, you can't, and you're driving a truck, you can't help unload that truck. You got to bring other people to unload that truck. So the Teamsters had it right. They said, look, we're not going to mix Twinkies with Hostesses because maybe they're incompatible materials, might cause some kind of explosion or something like that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the Twinkies were used in bomber vests these days in the Middle East. How could a Twinkie do anything other than
apparently, if you mix Wonder Bread with Twinkies, it has some kind of devastating effect.
And is that to the union? Because then they can't.
And then if a Teamster can't unload a Twinkie or a Wonder Bread, they have to have someone else come and unload it.
But you know those Teamsters.
So the thing about it is, and it's not the Bakers Union. You have that wrong. It's actually the Bakery, Confectionery, Tobacco Workers, and Grain Millers International. Okay, so you can't just go around calling them bakers. Okay, so they're not just.
But what do they do for a living?
Well, they could be tobacco workers. They could be grain millers. Okay, so anyway,
I didn't know Hostess made tobacco.
So what this really is a turf battle between two unions.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Now you're not saying it's not Hostess and the union. It's between two different unions.
It's between two different unions because the bakers are saying, like, our cost for baking is not extraordinary. You know, we have some concessions here, one thing or another, but we're not that costly. What's costly is the Teamsters, and they're the ones that are driving Hostess out of business.
Well, wait a minute. Why the Teamsters? Teamsters are usually the operators of the vehicles.
Right, but they're the ones that saying you can't have Wonder Bread in with a Twinkie. You can't.
But why is that? I have never heard an explanation of that.
Because that gives more jobs.
Oh, wait a minute. Does this mean that they're trying to control the job base of the union, and they're afraid if Hostess allows multiple items on the same truck that you've cut off a job for somebody else?
Yeah, because
so a Teamster loses a truck to drive.
So basically, it's kind of like Milton Friedman said. He said is when you had he was going on, he saw this road project, right? And there's a bunch of guys who were digging this road with shovels. And he's like, my gosh, why don't they just use the bulldozer? It'd be done in a few hours. And I said, well, it's a jobs program. So why don't give them spoons? So, they're giving them spoons. It's basically giving them spoons. And so
wait
you have more jobs.
Wait a minute. Is this about job? Is this about person count on each of the jobs?
Yeah.
Is this back to person count, right?
So anyway,
what the Teamsters paid almost $100,000 a year plus benefits.
What the Bakers are saying, we don't want to carry the Teamsters, right? But
they don't want to carry the Teamsters.
Yeah, they don't want to carry them. They said, we would rather
the trucks carry the Teamsters.
We would rather have Hostess go under, go through a bankruptcy, reorganize, or someone else buys it, and then we'll get rehired by the next company.
Yeah, but who's to say they're going to get rehired?
Well,
what if it goes offshore?
Okay, now we've got well, the thing about that was interesting about it, they could always blame it on private equity firms and Bain Capital and saying these greedy guys
the top 1% again.
But the thing about it is, the
broken record.
But the private equity firms that are involved with Twinkie, guess what? They're all Democrat campaign contributors. So that doesn't really. But what they don't, the Bakers don't want to look like they're throwing the Teamsters on the bus. So this way they can blame it on the private equity.
Wait a minute. So the Bakers are blaming Hostess when in fact it's the Teamsters and the Bakers that are having the dispute.
They're having this. This is a turf war.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense because why is it the media then hasn't covered it from that perspective? They've covered it that it's evil Hostess and good union. Why have they brought up the fact it's two unions against each other?
Well, I think they're prejudiced against Twinkies.
There's a lot of people. I don't know if they're prejudiced against Twinkies.
A lot of people don't like.
They have to have a bad guy.
No, but
it cannot be a union.
A lot of people don't like Twinkies. They think it's bad for people to have Twinkies, and they think it's all like a Bain Capital.
Is this another fat campaign?
The fat campaign. Yeah.
Oh, the fat campaign. Isn't this being run by then? If you want to take it that far, isn't that the president's wife is running the anti-fat campaign?
I don't.
Does she eat Twinkies?
I don't know anything
about
them.
Michelle eats Twinkies?
I'm not going to go there.
What about Sasha and Malia? Do they eat Twinkies? Are they allowed to eat Twinkies?
Well, they can't. There's no more Twinkies.
In the White House?
There's no more
I know there must be an underground locker of Twinkies in the White House.
There's no more Twinkies.
You cannot tell me there's no underground locker of Twinkies in the White House. I know there are. Because I know as soon as this came up, the president immediately, I understood, he sent Air Force One to the factory to ensure there be enough Twinkies, Ho Hos, Wonder Bread. I do remember this. This was a news flash on CBS by accident.
Once again, you're completely wrong, Jim. Completely wrong. And so,
okay. Are you sure about that?
You're completely wrong. Yeah.
No, I'm sure the White House has the underground locker with the Hostess items in it.
So it's unfortunate because Wonder Bread.
What's unfortunate?
It was kind of an.
I don't have my locker of Twinkies.
It was a kind of an American icon, Wonder Bread and Twinkies and Ho Hos.
It is an American icon.
And it's sad after 85 years that they're going to be, going under. And but
is this part of the redistribution of the Twinkie wealth that's been going on for the last 4 years? Now we're redistributing Twinkies and Ho Hos offshore, so it's going to be an offshore bundler that gets the Twinkies and Ho Hos because of the union. Is that what's going on here, Mark?
I think that it's an incredible opportunity for someone who wants to buy Hostess.
I think it is.
They have a brand name.
They have a brand name and they have a profit. And it's a well-profited company.
Well, they've been in bankruptcy for a few years.
Yeah, but bankruptcy, hey, we know what that means. That means a lot of people are getting paid. I also understand they're setting aside $20 million to pay 19 executives to make sure they wind down Hostess.
Right.
But that's a good deal.